This morning, John Murphy with the auditor's office sent out some updated budget guidance. However, it is not final yet as their meeting is the 12th, but he felt strongly that this is going to be the guidance that is going to be recommended by the auditor's office, the council, and the commissioners. To start off, they are recommending an increase in salary for all employees. For us being a 37.5-hour work week employee, it comes to $1,463 per employee. And with those increases, they're asking us then to offset that increase in other areas. So they want a flat budget. So all of our budgets have been adjusted to show
That's not a rate.
That's kind of, to show, I don't know if we said those exact words, but similar.
yeah, to show those offset the increase in salary. Then of course, FICA and PERF, everything gets adjusted when you increase the salary. So just starting off, just a reminder that between our 25 and 26 budget, we had a net decrease of almost 39%, cutting $4.5 million from our budgets. And now we are including a salary increase for staff and flatlining the budget for 2027. In some of the line items, we did put in a 3% inflation for services, supplies, since the cost of things just seem to be increasing. It's not going to be for every line item because some of the line items we did increase. But if it is a 3% increase in the notes is, our recommendation to have that in there for inflation. So just starting off with the first budget, the county health budget, which is highlighted in yellow. Just a reminder, this is our county or our tax revenue and our fee revenue generating budget, which I call the main budget for the Department of Health. And just going through, I'm just going to go through some of the things that have changed, not necessarily everything. So if you have any questions on something I'm not mentioning, please let me know. But just for the personnel, it's going to be the $1,463 increase. Just to note that some of the staff are split between HFI and the county health fund. So they might not have the full $1,463 in the county health fund, but then when we add in what they're getting in HFI, they are getting their full allotment. And just going down to the net increase for the, let me start here. For line 11155, which is nurses, other medical. I just want to remind everyone that it is technically not a new position for 2027. This is something that we went through in March and had changed into our budget. So it is currently a position in our budget. The thing that the auditor's office uses is what was the approved budget for 2025. So that's what the numbers are there. So that is a position that currently exists within our department. If we go to account 11184, we are eliminating one of the EHS coordinators. That was done to actually fund the CMA position that I just spoke about. So just removing one of the coordinators. As we go down to part-time.
Is this coordinator a part-time position?
No, it's one of our EHS specialists that have additional duties and receive an additional stipend for those additional duties.
Okay. So we're not taking away a person, we're taking away that person who's doing those additional duties.
Correct. The person that was in that position moved up to be our assistant director. And with the new leadership, they felt replacing the EHS coordinator wasn't necessary. Just having the one coordinator stay on board was enough.
Okay.
And just an FYI, we still have 4 people in the department that are able to do septic inspections. 2, 3 are full-time septic inspectors, and then our vector specialist is cross-trained with septic inspection. So 3.5 people. But the vector specialist, we've overhauled our vector program, and we're thinking that she will have availability to. They're all.
And we currently do have an EHS coordinator that's doing septic. The one that we're not including moving forward, as Amy pointed out, got promoted and was doing more of the water-based work.
So As a side note, and as a Realtor, I know that the South Bend area Realtors met with,
Karen Breezy, yeah.
yeah. We're having a lot of issues with septic. I mean, a lot of issues. So it's just kind of a separate thing to talk about, but I don't know if it's staff related or what the issue is per se. But it's not a good one. And it's all across the county. So just an
So
FYI.
we need to, I don't know. if
I'd like to hear
after this
about that.
Yeah, I would too. I don't know if you guys think it's appropriate to discuss that now,
Maybe
or
not.
Yeah, maybe not right now, but we can maybe at the end of the
for
meeting.
sure we want to know.
Yeah.
And Karen Breezy, they're aware.
They should be now. I know that a few people from the South Bend area Realtors office met with them. So we just haven't gotten a report back from them on that meeting.
Okay.
So,
And then going to account 11950, which is part-time staff, eliminating the nursing registrar, which we also did this year to create that CMA position. That was the staff member that was in the position. So we've already reallocated those funds for use within the department.
And also, just as an FYI, we've cross-trained 4 other people in their current positions to also be registrars. So we're really working on making sure that people have we have lots of cross-training. So if somebody's on vacation, somebody's sick, we've got people who can jump in there. So lots of cross-training. So even though we eliminated that position, we have 4 cross-trained. I don't want you to think holy guacamole. No.
And of course, all the changes to FICA, PERF, and then health insurance. So our net just in the increase in salaries is over 2.5% of our overall budget. So that came to $93,834.
so we have to lose that somewhere else in the budget.
And we already had, as we go through,
You'll see which-
a lot of it was already going to be trimmed as we were
Okay.
going through our budgets with each of these units. We were, moving funds around. Maybe one account got bigger, but one got smaller. But at the end of the day, we had to remove then $93,000 from somewhere else.
And we were already running pretty lean.
I know. That's what makes me nervous.
No real changes in the 20,000 series, which are supplies. We have reduced our immunization supplies line item. We just historically looking at what we have spent, we have not even come close to the 256,000. So that is one of the line items that we did reduce a little bit. Ashley had already asked for it to be reduced to 200,000. So we just reduced it a little bit more to get us flatlined for the year for 2027. And as we go to the
What about field supplies? What is stating there?
a lot of that is going to be field supplies that were asked for the HFI funded portions of the department, not our regular budget that was always funded with field supplies. This is going to be the chronic, not chronic, it's going to be maternal infant health. Yes, no. Maternal infant health isn't funded. Lead case management and TB. They reallocated those funds to different areas within the budget. So we still have funds available. I believe it's $4,000 that we've always had in our budget for pretty much food and environmental health to purchase any field supplies that they need. As we go down to the 30,000 series, the account 32021 parking rental, it shows a increase of $2,060. We have always subsidized our employees' parking if they pay for parking, but it was housed under travel mileage. So to increase transparency, there is a line item for parking rental. So we separated that out. So it's not a new expenditure. It's just being moved from travel and mileage to parking rental. For cell phones, we're actually getting ready to turn in some cell phones for a buyback program, but they did lower our cost as well, going from $45 a month to $40 a month. So we were able to shave some money off of the cell phone bill as well. In regards to postage, you'll see that that is a significant increase. We hope to not have to use it. However, we are just trying to prepare in case the Indiana Department of Health eliminates their courier service for our lead program. That way we have funds available to still be able to send samples down to the State Department of Health. But as long as the courier service is available, we're going to utilize that at no cost to us. And then going to my last highlight, or one of my last two, fleet allocation. We don't have the numbers yet from the auditor's office. That is something that comes directly from the auditor's office. They tell us what has to be budgeted. I do expect that to go down because last year we did turn in one of the trucks. So we should see a savings in not having the monthly fee for that. However, I don't know what that is yet. And the last item I wanted to highlight is going to be account 39600 refunds. I have never budgeted for refunds before because we've tended to have funds available that I can move around as needed, but seeing how lean we're getting, I don't want to rely on that. So I think having funds budgeted in case we do have to issue a refund, the refunds come if someone pays at the counter in cash or check on a different day. I then have to send them a check in the mail to refund them for their birth, or that would be birth certificate, for a food permit if they, didn't need a septic permit or something of that sort. So just having some funds available to do the refund. We've already collected the money. I just need somewhere to budget it to pay it back out to the.
An example I'll give you, last year, we had a woman who applied for a temporary food permit, and she died like a couple days before the event. And so her family asked that we refund the money. They were not a family that had a lot of money. They asked that we refund the money. And generally speaking, they don't refund, but under these circumstances, we did because it was the right thing to do.
So overall, you can see we did manage to get down to a flat budget, keeping it the same as last year at $4.669 million.
Good job.
Any questions?
That's amazing.
From an approval strategy standpoint, is there any reason we don't balance our budget? Ask for more? I mean, they're asked you to do zero, and what if we couldn't? Would there be is there any room for negotiation, or is it just, that's the way it is?
I don't think that there's a lot of room for negotiation because when Dr. Purushottam and I have historically met, we just recently met within the last month with several of the council members. And a couple of them are like, we're going to be shaving. What are you going to be giving up? I think I told you that story. What are you going to be giving up? And it's like, dude, we already given up 73% of it. And so they're looking for everybody to shave.
So with the fleet allocation not done yet, there could be more money from that per se.
Yeah.
Not a ton, but
I know. but
Yeah.
it's something.
And the way the fleet allocation works, everybody who needs a vehicle for their department pays into the pool. And then they figure out what percentage of your expense. And so that's, you're at that expense for the whole year.
And wouldn't that depend on if they determine they don't need vehicles?
Yeah.
Yeah, if they were to get newer vehicles or add to their fleet, that would
Cause
potentially
everybody who
increase their
participates.
fleet allocation.
And the idea is that we don't want our, we don't want people driving their private cars because of liability. Plus you're gonna have to reimburse their mileage, and we're already paying into the pot for the fleet. So we really want to direct people towards using fleet cars.
How many
not
cars
their
do we
personal.
have?
We have 11 or 12.
Total.
17.
Like, wow.
So how do they decide when you need a new one? And like you mentioned, if they decide
There's
to
a
need it,
management, fleet management. There's
They
an
just-
office out in town.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
They
was
tell you
on a 5-year
they're replacing
cycle.
them, to tell you what they're replacing them with.
Yeah,
They tell
they
you.
tell you where to take them to get fixed,
Yeah.
the most expensive place.
They do involve us when it's time to renew our specific fleet. And that's why we kept the older trucks, because the new trucks were just crazy expensive to get up to, and then realizing we only need one of the trucks to turn one back in, but they do. I think we're year 2 in our Nissan Versas, possibly, but we tend to get whatever the smallest,
And the
least
other,
expensive, because it stays in town.
yeah, the other thing is, yeah, you want them to be good, good with gas, but like before our Vector person thought they had 2 trucks. And it's like, you're one person, you can't drive 2 trucks at the same time. So
So we do officially, we have 18. That counts the MERV and the 2 Priuses.
And the Priuses we own outright, so we don't pay any fleet allocation for that. We own that outright, those 2 outright, and the MERV.
You have 13 Nissan Versas, 1 Ford F-150, the 2 Priuses, and the MERV vehicle. 18.
and we've shaved that down.
Any further discussion on this budget?
I'll just add. Yeah, I'm not getting tons of complaints. I do hear some complaints from some of the county council. It's usually about septic, fix the septic program.
After we get done with this, if you guys have time,
So I'm just saying, if we wanted to not comply with balancing the budget, just saying, well, we can cut this. We're trying to do better or add staff capacity to septic, like hearings.
Right,
I'm good with that.
you'll have to we can't absorb that in our
Right,
budget,
well, yeah.
another $100,000 to,
Right.
I mean, we wouldn't be able to do it.
and we are working on trying to also make things more consolidated and efficient. We're working on efficiency in terms of like the stuff that's online, maybe getting schematics on, we're talking about the schematics online. We're talking about a lot of things that hopefully would make it
Part
go
of
faster.
the issue is the consistency though, too. And that's the hardest part.
So consistency between inspectors.
Just between what you're being told. So it changes daily and it's like, what's happening? on
So
this
from here,
transaction?
like,
Yeah.
like here's wishy-washy from our inspectors.
You're being told one thing and then another, like one thing passes, another one doesn't, and they're identical. And there's just a lot of, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We need to send them to septic school.
Talk about that, but
Yeah.
just relative to negotiating, I guess what I'm suggesting, is there any room to negotiate, say, can't get other.
I mean, we could, as we go to, just looking at the next budget, the local public health services, the HFI budget. Let me just to your question before I go through it. We do have a EHS position budgeted in this budget that hasn't been filled since we did our staff reduction. It was suggested by environmental health leadership to remove that position since we're having to move over the Vector EHS, but that position is already in HFI and we could leave it there. Of course, that's not going to give us a balanced budget, but it's already there.
Right.
Instead of adding another person to, doesn't really matter if you're paid from here or here. Technically, I mean, the employee's not going to know any different. So I think if we do want to use that strategy, I would use the one built into HFI and just not eliminate it.
Yeah.
From the budget. And if they say, nope, you have to.
That's up to you.
I think we need to figure out what is going on.
Right.
And address 4 people.
We have money for,
I think
we have
we-
money for training.
Well, we have money for training.
We do, we have.
$500 per employee, we have allotted.
Do they need money?
I don't-
What training's available
Well,
for septic?
I don't know, they haven't gone to any training. I mean, not of late. Do you know of any, Dr. P?
I think most of our training is internal, and we
Yeah.
have one new EHS person that is in active training. They haven't gone out on their own yet, who we hired. So that person has not been independent and hasn't been an additional source. So that we will have in the next couple of months. So the question is, do we need somebody else on top of it? And I agree. I think it's a discussion of, do we need more people or do we need better consistency with the people that we have?
I think maybe we start with adding money for training and not internal training. I mean, having someone from Elkhart, Indianapolis, wherever, spend a week, a month, whatever it is we need.
So for example, David has been around for what? 6, 7 years, more than 5. And Katie's been around for 4 or 5. And then you have the 2 newbies. That the newest one, the full-time septic person, she is going to be ready to go for. They're going to have her hit the ground running in the summer. They said she's a quick learner and she's doing a really good job. So that would be 3 full-time septic and then a part-time septic.
I mean, that's all good, but if Jill's saying that she's getting 3 different answers from 3 different people.
We need. I think we need to get more specifics. I think we need the devil's in the details
Exactly.
and find out if it's like significant for one person or just we need to parse it out, I think.
You're only as good as what you were taught. So
Yeah, if you want to do one, teach one
Yeah.
sort of thing, yeah.
And we
For
do
sure.
have funding for training for all of our employees in our budget too. So if there is a need or if there is an opportunity that we feel that they need to go to, they can.
It's not up for a lack of, and we put the training money sort of in a pot. Everybody's assigned 500, but maybe you're not going to go this year or the director's not going to go or whatever. So we have ways to, sway it around with
Right.
training.
And maybe the part of the consistency is the communication. So something has to get better. And between this room only, I'm glad it's just us. So when
It's recording, right? Does the recording get published?
well, then we'll wait till after. I'm gonna wait till after. Thank you.
That's why I'm here. See?
that's what you're.
I think, but it's a chicken egg thing, right? I'm saying if you guys think you need more money for training, now's the time to ask, right? Like, I mean, if we don't put it in the budget, then it's gonna be too late if you need it for 2027. So if you think there's appropriate money for training, okay. If you think there's any possibility that we're gonna need to upgrade the training because we're gonna need some sort of overhaul with the new regs that have come out and the other stuff, then now is the time to build it in.
I don't doubt that there is some confusion. I don't doubt that at all. And I'm also strongly agreeing that there probably is an issue of communication.
Yeah.
But part of it is this TRP business, how they haven't come out with their final yada, yada, but people know about it. And then they've had open discussions about some of the new regulations, like no dry wells, being more, staunch about that. So I think part of it is being in a gray zone too.
So it's just, yeah,
Yeah, again, without going into the program, talking more about budget, I'm just trying to be strategic with this. Other departments, are they all gonna come in and say, we did it? Or are they gonna say, we couldn't do it, we want, we think we need, this money's really important, we think fund that.
I mean, Amy's been around long enough. John's been, I mean, they're not always departments that follow the rules, right? They're
Oh, for
departments
sure.
that
Or
come
prosecution.
all the time
Yeah.
and say, oh, no, squeaky, squeaky, we need this, right?
And I think if we have a solid enough justification to, ask for something, we've been successful in the past doing it because we're not always ask. We really try to ask for
We
what
try to
we need.
die on the right mountains. And they weren't happy about us getting the emergency okay for increasing our vaccine costs. I mean, they did it, but they were not happy about it. They made it known, don't plan on doing
Yeah,
this.
I don't think they'll approve it again or suspend it.
What was they want you to do? Like lose money? I mean, that wasn't up to you. That's when the manufacturers went up on their.
Either it's money or someone doesn't get vaccinated. I mean, it's a no-win.
Want to have vaccines or not? I mean, it wasn't up to you.
Yeah, no, but they were not happy.
So
They did it, but we try to save things for that, our favors for that.
Well, and if, like you said, they're complaining about it, then they may be more apt to want to see a solution.
so when we look at this money for this vacant position, this $57,000 for this vacant position, it's in a sense earmarked for that particular department, correct?
Yeah.
So if we don't add a person per se, could we then take those funds and move them to training?
Oh,
In that
absolutely.
department?
Because we'd still be budget neutral.
Right, we
But,
have
but
to
it has to,
request
you have to get permission because you're changing the
from line item. to
line
line
item.
Right, yeah, if we approve
It's
it
not-
as
you can't just do it.
DHS, yes, that would have to be a council approval, the 2-month, or
Right.
well, it used to be 2-month process. That is the council committee and public hearing process, but it is possible.
But
We
it
want to
wants
leave
to,
that position there as a bookmark. I mean, we want to leave the bookmark there.
Yeah.
But, because it's harder to get a position approved, but if it's already there and we find money, which we may,
Right. I think like what John said, you have to figure out what the process is and where the breakdown is, because I mean, if it's training, fine, use it for training, but if it's, oh, there's not enough people, then you can't.
yeah, I think.
right, so by having this line item here and not changing it and approving it with this line item that's vacant, then I think that's good, because then we don't have to worry, at least we know that we've got this line item there.
Bookmarked, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
But you're saying if you want to change it to training instead of like an employee, you would still have, would you have to go back?
You have to add.
Correct, and there was actually even language in the draft guidance that came out from Mr. Murphy that actually made it sound like that you wouldn't be able to move. Like they don't want you to,
That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
So if you guys think that there's not enough money for training, I mean, this is draft 2, right? Usually we get draft 8 or 9 or something. So
We tried to get it right on.
there were many drafts before. Draft 1 is what got sent out. There was probably draft 8, 9 before it got, draft 1 is what actually seen the light of day.
I think we're okay with the way it is right now.
Last year was version 7, but I actually got.
Yeah. Yeah. I think years before I had colors and I'm like, why didn't I do numbers?
Thank you.
What do you think, Dr. Pershoza?
I think it's hard without knowing. When we asked our environmental leadership if they needed an extra person, they said that they did not. We did not ask them specifically if they felt that they needed more in training than what is allotted. We put $500 per employee with the understanding that if not everyone in your unit requires training that year, then the other person can absorb that funding, and that would keep our budget neutral. So we felt comfortable with that, just given how the seniority of the people in our septic team. So I think it's just the overall comfort. If we feel like we need something like an EHS position, then we can put an EHS position. We would not be flat. And as Amy said, at that point, we can say, hey, if you want us to be flat, then we would have to remove the EHS position and see how the council responds to that. From a training perspective, if you want to increase that by a couple $100, we could do that and then try and see if we can reduce another line item to make that balanced. So there's opportunities both ways. Personally, it's hard to know without hearing the conversation that's going to happen after this meeting about that piece, whether we think it's an operations education issue or a staff issue. We have one more person that hasn't even fully started to work independently, so we haven't seen the impact of having an extra full-time EHS person be independently, and I feel like that's going to have a positive impact that we aren't experiencing right now. So personally, I feel like we're probably okay with the staffing per our EHS leadership recommendation, but we never really know. I think we've always been in the situation where we're not sure, which is why even in the past, we've carried an extra EHS position in our budget and haven't filled it because the staff doesn't necessarily sometimes feel that it's needed. So it's up to you guys what you think. How comfortable we are with not having an extra position. I think from a training perspective, we could pull funds from other areas if there is a training that is needed. What is your overall feeling?
I think you should keep that position in there.
I do too.
I mean, and speaking just in budget terms, I mean, the difference would be you're either pulling from somewhere else or you're gonna not be at zero. And then you have the leverage because they're the ones complaining about it. And so at the end of this, you pass the budget as it is, and then either you're not at zero or you're moving funds around between other things.
So are you okay with keeping it as a position, as a line item, but not budgeting for it? I mean, keeping it at zero, or you want to put, because you're gonna have to budget, $59,000 basically.
Let's see.
That's what's budgeted for now, right?
What's that?
It's budgeted for 58,793 now, so.
For this year, yeah, but that money will go away in 2027. This is the 2027 budget we're trying to discuss.
So doing that increased
It's
it by
zero.
4.18%, leaving that EHS position in with the benefits and everything. So that pretty much equals
That's a lot of money.
88,376 for the one
No,
employee.
I mean, it went up $88,000. So,
So this budget is saying it's not in there in twenty.
it's gonna be in there. You're gonna keep the line item.
The line.
You're just gonna leave it
Zeroed out.
vacant.
Oh, I
zeroed
see.
out.
Okay.
So it's zeroed out for 20. It's still there. We're keeping it. We're not getting rid of it.
No, it'll be gone.
Oh, will it?
Yeah, it'll be gone. If there's no money in it, it won't show up. So if we did.
Can't say
just fake it. If there's no money budgeted, it won't be a line item.
Well, then it has to be a line item.
Because if it has $0,
I
then
thought
we would
we
have to go through the process.
I know, I was thinking what you were saying
I
and I
was
was like,
thinking-
oh, well, that's okay.
Yeah, I
If
don't,
it has $0, it won't show up in the budget. Like
what about $1?
$1, it'll show up in the budget.
Yeah, but then we'd have to fight to get the money back for the position.
If we feel strongly that that position is needed, leaving it in is definitely our better option instead of removing it and trying to fight for it in the future, no matter what budget it's coming from. Since it is technically already in the 2026 budget, I think we have a strong justification saying we have to move over our Vector EHS member because that grant has been fully expended. There's nowhere else for that position to go. So we can say the increase is due to the Vector EHS position, which is the same dollar amount.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay,
I like how you think.
so it's gonna be 58,793.
Yeah, so the increase is strictly related to one full-time EHS with benefits.
And it's still gonna be off 88 grand
Yes.
because of.
I don't-
And
Yeah.
it's 18,500 in health insurance, yeah.
And we went through these budgets multiple times as a group and with the unit directors, and I think we're very lean. So I don't think we have 88,000 to cut from any other space, so we are just not gonna be able to go flat and see how the council responds.
Right, I mean, if the council says you have to be flat, then it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I like the logic that you had behind why it is off.
Yeah.
Is because of that, the funding.
Yeah,
for
that's a
that particular
justification we can
Yes.
easily use. Originally, we were thinking to keep it flat, swap one for one, but if we want to have that position, Vector has to move to HFI. It's going to be expended this year.
Okay,
Like I said, it's gonna be harder to go on the other side and get it back.
Yeah, you don't ever want to take anything out that you might come back in the near future. Okay, so as we go through this budget, which is HFI, the county, local public health services. As I just mentioned, this is a new position because that fund is going to be expended this year. That fund was included in the original packet. However, they have made some purchases for pesticide and such, which is going to wipe the budget out. So now I don't need to budget that money. So we're down one fund that we have to budget. So anything for Vector is now built into HFI for 2027. Of course, just reminding that this position is not new. We put it in March of this year. We are keeping the EHS position with the, salary increase. As we go down to part-time, we made a few changes in our part-time line item. Communications and event specialists. We haven't needed a dedicated person for that. We have had some staff pick up some of the duties, Mike being one, and one of our health promotion specialists have picked up those duties. So we eliminated that position. We eliminated one part-time nurse position. Also the nursing registrar, which that was eliminated to create that full-time CMA. And we do want to create a new part-time position for the public health coordinator. Don't know that we need a full-time position for it, but this position, we have budgeted for 20 hours a week at part-time status, which then they would be eligible for FICA only. We wouldn't have to pay PERF or health insurance to that position. We don't know we don't know the status if we need that position, but we feel it needs to be built in case we do in the future.
And what does that person do?
It's the equivalent of local health department FEMA. So natural disasters, environmental disasters. We have to be a part of, everybody has to be trained. It's a lot of training, isn't it? Mike's been
Yeah,
trained.
public health emergency preparedness.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what that person
Yeah,
does.
it's a lot of coordination with different groups around the county, all geared for emergency response.
Nice. Does that solve that issue with our reputation?
I don't know. The verdict's still out.
Sorry, mostly listening. But the part-time positions, the ones that have been zeroed out,
They've been eliminated.
have been eliminated.
Correct. The communication and event specialist and the part-time nurse are new eliminations. The nursing registrar was eliminated this year to create that full-time CMA position.
We don't have to get rid of anybody.
No, those
Not
are,
getting rid of.
yeah, those are all vacant. Nobody's in those positions, just vacancies.
Probably won't. I would not.
It depends on who you're talking to. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's. We think that there's some reevaluation and efficiencies to be had.
Always learning. Okay, so then, as we go down and look at the net increase for. Here we go. This one was much more, of course, because the 88,000 for the employee we're adding to it for the Vector program. So this had a net increase of $105,572, meaning then we're going to offset everything except the 88,000 that we're going to leave in for that Vector position.
So my totals on this sheet are different than your totals on
We
that.
added
Well, I just added the KHS back in.
Oh, okay. I knew there was a reason for it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but what you have doesn't have the EHS position,
Gotcha.
though. It
Yeah.
should be off that exact dollar,
Yeah.
$88,000.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
going through some supplies, a significant increase in office supplies. We are doing a lot more in-house printing and not sending it out for printing. So of course, that correlates to more toner being purchased and more paper being purchased, and just having a bigger office supply line for those programs funded by HFI. Before, I gave them very minimal, and it just wasn't sufficient. It was just way too lean. So we're increasing that to be able to substantiate the printing that we're doing in-house. Field supplies have gone down at the request of the units. However, medical supplies has gone up. Those medical supplies are being used by our chronic disease program. And as we go further down in the budget, you'll see a significant decrease in public information and education. It's just a reallocation of funds. A few things with as we get down to public info and education, that's mainly used to start up a program. Once a program's up and running, they need funds in different ways since the program has been established. And this is one of those ways where now that the chronic disease program has been created and is on the ground, now we need the kits to do the A1C test, the cholesterol tests, those type of things. Going down to services, an increase.
So the travel mileage, if
Mhm.
we've got the fleet, what is the travel mileage?
That's still going to be mileage for our staff if they have to use their personal vehicle because a county fleet vehicle isn't available.
Okay.
They would have to utilize I believe it's like 72.5 cents a mile. They get paid reimbursed for mileage. That's why it has been decreased, because Mike and I did an internal audit of our county cars, and we were actually able to reallocate 3 of the cars to the CARE program, which is their job is to be in the field. So we expect a significant decrease in mileage being turned in. So that's why that has decreased significantly. So they have 3 dedicated cars now, as well as pretty much environmental and food have dedicated cars to them.
Nice.
And then the conferences and training line item increased. Mainly the increase is due to our MIH program having more opportunities for beneficial trainings for the programming, being lactation consultants, car seat certified. So having additional training available for those staff members in that program. As we go down, incentives, we have increased incentives in our line item. We have seen a significant increase in our participation in our EMBER program. So in order to keep them engaged, we want to make sure that we have the funds available to offer car seats, strollers, diapers. We offer a variety of things for expectant moms and new moms and their babies. And those funds were also reallocated from public info and education.
And why would cell phone go up if the fee for cell phones went?
Having that with the public health coordinator, I wasn't sure if that position would need a cell phone or not be,
Okay.
you know, like our liaison to outside agencies. So just putting in some funds for
Gotcha.
them to have.
Gotcha.
Going to account 33128 has an increase in environmental health. That is the line item that we pay for radon mitigation, that we help homeowners pay for radon mitigation. So we would like to be able to increase that line item so we can offer to help homeowners with their radon mitigation if they test high for radon. And of course, as I've been mentioning, a significant decrease in public info and education. However, those funds have been reallocated in different ways. So we're just not giving up on what those funds were used for. Those programs are up off the ground and doing really well.
Yeah, that was a nice save.
Very much so. Vector, of course, have that in the budget. And then we go to contractual services. We did reduce that. We haven't used our bilingual translator as much as we had in the past. So just adjusting for what our costs have been over the last year. Eliminating rent buildings and office space. With EMBER going online, you no longer have to rent the facility to have those classes. And the last one on this budget, the information technology, that has increased. We are up for a tech refresh in 2027 per IT. However, they will only refresh a laptop or a desktop, not tablets. And a lot of our field staff have tablets. So we want to make sure we have funds available if a tablet needs to be replaced. Not everyone's going to get a new tablet because we're getting new laptops, but we want to make sure we have funds available if a replacement is needed for those staff members. But everyone will be getting a new laptop or desktop. I don't think we have any desktops in our department. Just having that available in case. And then a slight decrease in equipment, and that is requested by the Vector program in case anything is needed or anything breaks and they need replacement of anything. So at the end of this, with adding in that one position, that's exactly what, I mean, I can tie it exactly to the salary and benefits, the $88,376. I mean, we're still under, 5% isn't massive if we're,
Which is still the same amount of the Vector.
same thing. One,
Right, to a
just-
T.
yeah.
So, perfect.
Yeah.
That's what we can blame it on.
Can you talk more about the public information and education and what we're really giving up there, or what we're not going to be able to do as a result of this, or
Well,
moved around? Is that what you're saying?
right, it was moved around. In the beginning, we were doing a lot of hand billing, going out and putting the word out that we're starting a chronic disease program. Now that that program has started, we don't need to spend as much money on getting the word out. We're going to events. I think the libraries we have as partners, we need the funds now to do the test. I believe it's $40 per person in supplies that we use for those tests. So instead of having the flyers and, going out and letting everyone know at meetings and other places that we go to, letting them know of the program. We just need supplies for the program. We need incentives now that we've gone online, instead of promoting, hey, do we need to go online? Should we go online? It obviously was very beneficial to go online.
And part of it was also transparency, that there was sort of this basket of public information and education, and some of it was incentives for Ember too, right?
This year, we've been slowly trying to look at what accounts there are already in the budget system by anyone in the county and try to make it fit like a glove as best we can. And public info and education is one of theirs where it could be printing, it could be educational supplies. It really could be used as a basket for many things, and it would be fine to use it as that, if it's not going against any use of the funds for it, but.
I think it's important when we do our budgets just to see exactly what the money's, if we can, as much as we can.
I mean, yeah, because we still have, we're doing the printing in-house now. So that helps with, we're still producing flyers and, leaving them at I think
They don't have to be, it doesn't have to be polished. People are going to throw stuff away anyway. And we are saving quite a bit of money to the point where the printing people are calling, saying, don't you guys have any work for us? Seriously. And believe it or not, it's cheaper to buy our own paper and our own cartridges and do it than to pay a printer to do it. And we have people upstairs on the
11th floor.
who have bigger printers and bigger machines that we can do stuff on. And so we're just trying to shed weight.
I think Dr. Harding last meeting to talk about how we have to get the word out. Does this impact our ability to get the word out on the
Because we still have, I think, utilizing either printing services, if it's something that needs to be sent out for printing, or using the office supply item to print it in-house can be used. And also if it is something where we wanted to hand something out, it could still be used under public info and education. They still have some funds available for it. We just needed to make sure that the staff knew the distinction between a true incentive and what is public health or public information and education. And in discussing that, that also led to, well, that's more of an incentive, or that's more of a public information and education, item. If we're able to give them something with our logo on it and have it stuffed with information, that's public information and education. If you're giving out a car seat, well, that's an incentive. Just
We're giving out safe sleep sacks and with birth certificates. So there's a sleep sack in there for their newborn, plus education about safe sleep. So they come in for a birth certificate, they're going to get one of those. That's education, not an incentive.
Well, and I think your target audience at this point, like mentioning like an outreach to the community and trying to get them involved anymore is more social media anyway than paper. So
Okay.
maybe.
Do we have, you mentioned, I think, are you taking on some of who's doing like Facebook and doing all those, the social media? Is that?
I do part of it. We recently, one of the CHWs, one of the health promotion specialists are helping to look after the social media.
Okay.
So she's younger than me, better versed in it. And so hopefully that will help us to be a bit more on top of it. She has ability to be in there daily.
Okay. Nice.
Where I was a little bit more limited, and to be honest, my knowledge of it and enthusiasm isn't as good as.
I found the same thing when like with my business, it's like asking my daughter, how do you do this? And she can do it in 2 minutes, whereas I'm there for 3 hours. So
Different vernacular.
yeah, they just know what they're doing. So let them do it.
Couple of questions. So I think this is the same topic, but conference and training. 32050.
Yes,
We're going up 10 grand.
yes.
Is that just kind of like we're getting moved from public information and education up to that line item? Is that because of fire council? So why are you expanding that? why can't you do it the way you did it last year? But you were just reallocate, moving it around, trying to
Right.
get in the right bucket or in the right basket.
Right, there's a lot of reallocation within this budget where the director of the unit and the program, you know, looking at what they have spent in 25, which that's really the only information we have for a full year. 25, a lot of these programs weren't up and running. They didn't feel they needed the funds as they originally thought they needed.
But you don't think the auditor, the council's gonna say 10 grand for, no, we're not doing 10 more grand.
So we're actually improving our services. We're expanding our services. So we've got the in-home visits. So we've got lactation. We want certified lactation consultants to help those moms breastfeeding.
So, sounds like you've got a good explanation where
Yeah.
they won't.
So we're trying to get people certified for their home visits.
Okay.
And then we can bill for those.
Oh, that's nice.
So, yeah, because everybody's on Medicaid until the mom's on Medicaid until the baby's a year old. So
Yeah, as much as we can, I mean, bill for stuff, it just helps our bottom line.
that's where we've got this certified people get trained up.
Our next one is going to be the opioid restricted. This is the fund that the county commissioners actually have under their umbrella, where they set up a budget for us to be able to fund our injury prevention, mental health, and opioid overdose prevention program. So it does fund one of the health promotion specialists in that program. So of course, in order to be flatlined, we did have to reduce some of the supplies and services that were budgeted for this year. However, she does have another budget, which will be the last one that we discussed, that adding those together, she'll be able to run all of her programming that she does. So this one stays at 89,398.
I would love to give these sheets to employees because we mentioned how much their actual. They had no idea.
If there aren't any questions, we'll go to the next one, which is the health school liaison budget. This budget has a healthy fund balance, but does not receive any new revenue. So it's just operating on its fund balance. This does fund the school health liaison and her programming. One significant decrease is medical supplies. Originally, we had budgeted $200,000 for that program, and thankfully, with the help of the Fair Foundation, we still have some funds available. I believe around $10,000 available for the schools to use. We felt we didn't need to have $200,000 available to be able to help the schools in their needs. If the request does fall under something that the Fair Foundation can fund, we funnel it that way. Otherwise, we do use this funding to, if they need a defibrillator,
The camera has stopped according to Dr. Fisher.
That must have been what the sound was.
Oh, I didn't want to interrupt while you were speaking.
Let's see.
Yeah, top right hand camera.
Oh, it just turned off.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you.
sorry. I heard a noise, but I wasn't sure what it was. It did sound like something. I wanted to go to sleep or something. So that's the reason for the decrease in medical supplies is if we can fund it with the Fair Foundation, we do. And we're very frugal with that as well. We'll have them ask for a $500 thermometer. Like, no, you'll Dr. Migliori's our. She looks for the best item on Amazon and said, no, then this is sufficient. This is what they can have. So
This is for the health school.
liaison that works with the schools to make sure the kids that that the kids have what they need to stay in the classroom and out of the nurse's office.
And there have been like, initially when this program started, we were getting AEDs for schools, like some of the schools needed to have one that they could put in a bag and take it to the athletic field for any emergencies. And so those are really salty, the AEDs. We just, they're very expensive. That's when you get shocked if somebody has a cardiac arrest, an athlete,
Gotcha.
or somebody in the stands.
But you said that this position was funded.
It's a grant fund.
Okay, is that going away?
We haven't received new funds in 2 years, but it does have a healthy fund balance over $1 million.
Oh.
Right, so I'm not worried about it just yet, because we
Yeah.
budget what we need, that's what we do with every
Gotcha.
budget. However, when and if that funding does run out, it would have to move to HFI if we were unable to secure any other funding, and HFI funding is still available.
Okay.
But yeah, it'll be a few years before we have to worry about that pending any, major thing happening with the schools.
Okay.
And that's less than what we had budgeted last year, 47% increase, so well within their request to stay flat. And the last one, this is the program that goes with the opioid restricted, where it's hand in hand. It can be used for opioid overdose prevention. Since the
Back to the school.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any harm in keeping the medical supplies higher in case you want that, or is that really?
We have over $1 million, so we can always get into it, but we haven't been, people, if a school nurse, like, we're always trying to make sure we meet their needs. They just haven't requested, like a new exam table or.
Right, so something happens with people with 50,000, I'm gonna get the fair.
We have,
But does it matter? Because why not?
we have, as long as we're under the 315, 323, which was last year's request.
Dr. Purushottam, did you want to say something?
I was just gonna say that the Fair Foundation was really beneficial to us last year, and a lot of the big ticket items for the AEDs have already been requested by the schools and they've received them. So then thinking forward in terms of what is actually needed in terms of medical supplies, we asked our school health liaison, best guess, what do you think we would actually need? And that's how we came up with that number. It wouldn't hurt to go up if we want to just have more cushion. I don't think there would be a problem with doing so, because as Amy mentioned, we would still be neutral. And if they don't use the funds, then it just rolls over to the future. So I'm comfortable if we want to make that adjustment. But that was the reason why it was a little bit lower.
I think it's probably, I think you bring up a good point.
That's a pretty big decrease.
Yeah. So maybe do 100,000, make it half. Still looks like we're trying to trim.
We're still reducing $2,000, almost $103,000, 32%. So it's still a significant savings. And the NACCHO mentor program does not fund any staff. That is funded in the opioid restricted fund. So this is just going to be some supplies and services. And there are quite a few reductions here because this is another grant that is just running on its fund balance. So this is going to probably be expended between this year and next year. There's going to be some expenditures coming this year, and then they felt budgeting the $10,000, I believe it is $10,058 would be more than what would honestly be left for this year. But that way we have every dollar budgeted and available to spend if needed for that program.
But back on fund.
I'd say, yeah.
No, but I mean, like,
Or be the overall.
yeah, like all the different ones, the different baskets she's got to keep track of. And Amy does an incredible job, incredible.
Anything to go back and revisit?
We have 5 different.
So what does I appreciate, but I am also very sad.
What was the health trust fund?
And that's the one that's gonna be fully expended this year. That's the Vector one.
And we're looking at trying, I don't know what the rules are about trying to sell assets, like we have a fair, can you go ahead and get Dr. Petrone back with us? Thank you. We have a fair number of like sort of big equipment items that in the garage that are fairly new that we're not using. But one of them doesn't start because the
The battery went. completely
something
dead.
of, I don't know if it's a specialized sort of battery. It's in one of the forklifts, isn't it?
Either the skid loader or the forklift.
But anyway, because it won't ever start, you're gonna have to like, it's some sort of specialized thing that they're gonna have to replace to even move it unless you just load it up on a flatbed and haul it out. But it's pretty new. It's just that it wasn't ever run. And so do we have to offer it for free to another county?
No, I found out from Bree, depending on the funding source, with pretty much everything related to Vector. We used the Health Trust Fund for, which is funds from the State Department of Health. We can auction those off directly without having to offer those to other county offices. If it is something that we used our county health fund to purchase, which is part tax revenue, part fee revenue, that would have to be offered up to another county office to see if they can use it. We would just release it from our inventory for free. We wouldn't get anything for it, but if it's funded from anything other than that, we can send it right to auction. The only thing with their auction is there are no minimum bids.
They could get it for $1.
Yeah.
My gosh. Well, $1 more than free.
And if it's something that's a paperweight, not taking up space like our mannequins, like we could do that with our mannequins.
Could we do the same thing if we needed something? Could we get something from auction?
Oh, I am.
Yeah.
Trying to get rid of you, Dr. P. There you are.
Sorry.
Sorry, I was pressing buttons that I didn't need to be pressing.
No problem.
So for the health trust fund, there is no budget.
Correct.
Is there re-
That's gonna be used up all this year.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion to approve 2601F with the amended, as amended,
You like to send it to the full board?
and send it to the full board for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries.
So glad you wanted to do that.
I mean, I guess I can do it now.
Place of next meeting to be determined. And I think we're adjourned, I guess.
So you don't have to record anymore.
Nope. Let me turn it off.
But what,
Stop recording.
Anytime.
Everything